what's actually happening.
They don't want to go up against each other and the Republican Party. I assume you're talking about the Democrats, but I think the Republicans want to keep things going as they are.
For decades, John Cusack was one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces, delivering unforgettable performances that made him a favorite among audiences worldwide. Then, almost without warning, the spotlight seemed to move on, leaving fans wondering what really happened. Was he quietly pushed aside? Did he choose to walk away? Or was something far more complicated unfolding behind the scenes? The truth is filled with unexpected twists, controversial decisions, and surprising revelations that paint a very different picture from the rumors. The truth behind Cusack's disappearance. For years, John Cusack seemed to be everywhere. With his sharp wit, relatable charm, and unique screen presence, he became one of Hollywood's most memorable leading men. Audiences fell in love with his performances in films like Say Anything, High Fidelity, Being John Malkovich, and Grosse Pointe Blank. He had the rare ability to play characters who felt genuine, ordinary people with complicated emotions, awkward humor, and quiet confidence. During the height of his career, it appeared that John Cusack would remain one of Hollywood's biggest stars for decades. Then, almost without warning, he seemed to fade from the spotlight, leaving many fans wondering what had happened. His disappearance from major Hollywood productions wasn't caused by one dramatic scandal or career-ending mistake. Instead, as some reports have it, it resulted from several smaller factors that slowly came together over time. The film industry itself changed. Cusack's personal career choices evolved, and his outspoken personality often placed him at odds with the system that had once helped make him famous. One of the biggest reasons was Hollywood's changing priorities. During the 1980s and 1990s, the industry produced many mid-budget romantic comedies, character-driven dramas, and intelligent comedies, the very types of films where Cusack thrived. As the years passed, however, major studios increasingly shifted their attention toward superhero movies, action spectacles, massive franchises, and sequels designed to earn billions at the global box office. The kinds of thoughtful, character-focused films that had built Cusack's reputation became far less common. Cusack himself admitted that this shift had affected his career. In an interview with The Guardian, he revealed that securing financing for projects had become much harder in recent years. He suggested that both his age and his place within the changing entertainment industry had made it increasingly difficult to bring many of the stories he wanted to tell to life. His outspoken personality also played a significant role. Unlike many celebrities who carefully avoid controversy, Cusack has never been afraid to express his opinions. Over the years, he has openly criticized Hollywood's business culture, challenged powerful institutions, and frequently spoken about political and social issues. While many fans admired his honesty and willingness to stand by his beliefs, others believe his outspoken nature made him a less attractive choice for major studios seeking stars who avoided controversy. Rather than chasing blockbuster franchises or returning for endless sequels, Cusack deliberately chose a different path. He gravitated toward independent films and international productions, where he believed filmmakers enjoyed greater artistic freedom and fewer commercial pressures. Although these projects allowed him to explore more diverse and challenging roles, they rarely received the massive marketing campaigns or worldwide theatrical releases that kept actors constantly in the public eye. As a result, many people mistakenly assumed he had stopped acting altogether. In reality, John Cusack never truly disappeared. He simply stepped away from Hollywood's spotlight, choosing creative independence over fame and building a career that reflected his own values instead of the industry's expectations. How was Cusack able to leave the Hollywood spotlight? Did he face any resistance? Let's delve into the details of how John Cusack chose independence over stardom. The price of staying authentic. For many people, it seemed as though John Cusack simply disappeared from Hollywood. One day, he was one of the industry's most recognizable faces, starring in memorable films that audiences loved, and then, almost without warning, he was no longer appearing in the biggest studio productions. But the truth is far more interesting than a dramatic scandal or a career-ending controversy. His gradual absence was not the result of a single event. Instead, it reflected a series of personal choices that slowly pulled him away from the center of Hollywood and toward a path that he believed was more authentic. According to various reports, Cusack became increasingly uncomfortable with the traditional Hollywood system and the expectations that came with being an A-list star. While many actors eagerly chased blockbuster franchises, massive paychecks, and carefully crafted public images, Cusack appeared to value something entirely different. Rather than measuring success by box office numbers or celebrity status, he chose artistic freedom, personal independence, and the ability to work on stories that genuinely interested him. It was a decision that came with a price, gradually placing him outside Hollywood's inner circle. Unlike many celebrities who thrive on constant media attention, glamorous award shows, and exclusive industry events, Cusack earned a reputation for keeping his distance from the culture of fame. He rarely appeared on red carpets, showed little interest in promoting himself, and avoided becoming part of Hollywood's powerful social networks. Instead of pursuing roles simply because they promised commercial success, he often selected projects that reflected his own creative interests, even if they were smaller productions with limited audiences and modest budgets. At the same time, Cusack became increasingly outspoken about politics and social issues. Through interviews and, more noticeably, on social media, he openly criticized government decisions, corporate power, economic inequality, and other controversial subjects. While many actors carefully avoid discussing divisive topics to protect their careers and public image, Cusack seemed willing to accept the consequences of speaking his mind. His refusal to remain silent strengthened his reputation as someone who valued honesty over popularity, but it also made him stand apart from many of his Hollywood peers. The entertainment industry itself was also changing. As superhero franchises, cinematic universes, and spectacular action films began dominating the global box office, the kinds of intelligent dramas, romantic comedies, and character-driven stories that had once made Cusack a household name became increasingly rare. The thoughtful, unconventional leading roles that perfectly matched his style were gradually replaced by films built around visual effects and franchise potential. Even so, John Cusack never truly vanished. He simply chose a different road. Rather than chasing fame, he reinvented himself through independent films, international productions, and projects that reflected his personal beliefs. His story is not one of failure or rejection. Instead, it is the story of an actor who willingly stepped away from Hollywood's commercial machine to remain true to himself, proving that sometimes walking away is not the end of a career, but the beginning of a different kind of success. Did Hollywood persuade Cusack to return after his disappearance? Or did the industry feel relieved with it? Let's dive into the details of the reason why Hollywood didn't miss him. Why Hollywood left John Cusack. There was a time when John Cusack seemed impossible to avoid. Throughout the late 1980s, the 1990s, and the early 2000s, he became one of Hollywood's most recognizable and respected stars. Whether he was winning hearts in Say Anything, making audiences laugh in High Fidelity, bringing intensity to Con Air, or delivering one of his most unforgettable performances in Being John Malkovich, Cusack built a reputation as an actor who could move effortlessly between romance, comedy, drama, and action. His talent, intelligence, and distinctive screen presence made him one of the industry's most dependable leading men. Yet, despite such an impressive career, he gradually faded from the Hollywood spotlight, leaving many fans wondering what really happened. The answer is far more complex than a single scandal or career-ending mistake. According to Grunge, Cusack's disappearance was the result of several different factors coming together over many years. Personal decisions, outspoken political views, and major changes within the entertainment industry all played important roles in pushing him away from the center of Hollywood. Unlike many celebrities who thrive on red carpets, glamorous parties, and constant public attention, Cusack never seemed interested in becoming a traditional Hollywood star. He guarded his private life carefully and rarely sought publicity outside of promoting his films. Eventually, he chose to leave Los Angeles and make Chicago his home, placing both physical and emotional distance between himself and Hollywood's powerful social circles. At a time when staying visible became almost as important as acting ability itself, Cusack's refusal to play the celebrity game made him stand out, but not necessarily in ways that benefited his career. His political activism also became impossible to ignore. Through social media and public interviews, Cusack openly challenged political leaders, criticized government policies, questioned the influence of powerful corporations, and defended causes such as press freedom. He even interviewed whistleblower Edward Snowden and later co-authored a book exploring many of those same issues. Cusack has admitted that speaking so openly may have closed professional doors, but he has consistently maintained that staying true to his beliefs was more important than protecting his Hollywood status. His outspoken nature occasionally attracted controversy as well. One social media post in 2019 sparked widespread criticism, leading Cusack to apologize and explain that the message did not represent his actual beliefs. While no one can say for certain whether incidents like this affected casting decisions, they reinforced his reputation as one of the industry's most outspoken and polarizing voices. Even though Cusack never stopped acting, the roles became smaller and harder to find. He has suggested that changing audience tastes, the industry's growing focus on younger stars, and his declining commercial appeal all made it increasingly difficult to secure financing for projects. Even his widely praised performance in Amazon's Utopia failed to restore his former standing after the series was canceled following just one season. Rather than disappearing completely, John Cusack slowly drifted away from Hollywood's brightest spotlight, choosing principle over popularity while the industry itself moved in a different direction. Which of his views seems not to sit well with many? Could it be because of the energy he put in it? Let's find out. John Cusack's most controversial political moments. John Cusack has become just as well known for his outspoken political activism as for his decades-long career in Hollywood. Over the years, he has repeatedly used his social media platforms to criticize Israel's military actions in Gaza and to speak in support of Palestinian rights, making the conflict one of the issues he discusses most often. His public criticism became especially visible during the 2014 Gaza war, when he strongly condemned the deaths of Palestinian civilians. During that period, he regularly shared articles, opinions, and reports expressing solidarity with Palestinians and questioning Israel's military campaign. His online activity attracted both praise from supporters and heavy criticism from those who believed his views were unfairly one-sided. Cusack continued his activism in 2018 by signing an open letter supporting singer Lorde after she canceled a planned concert in Israel. The cancellation came after appeals from the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions (BDS) movement, which encourages cultural and economic pressure on Israel over its treatment of Palestinians. By signing the letter, Cusack publicly aligned himself with those supporting the boycott campaign. However, his activism also sparked major controversy. In June 2019, Cusack shared an image showing a large fist marked with a blue Star of David, crushing a crowd of people beside a quote that has often been wrongly credited to Voltaire, but actually originated with neo-Nazi Kevin Alfred Strom. Cusack added the phrase, "Follow the money," to the post. The image was quickly condemned as anti-Semitic because it echoed harmful stereotypes about Jewish people. Realizing the seriousness of the mistake, Cusack deleted the post within hours and issued a public apology. He explained that while his concern for Palestinian human rights remained unchanged, the image was offensive and harmful to both Jewish and Palestinian communities. He stressed that anti-Semitism has no place in political debate and expressed regret for sharing the material. Following the October 7, 2023 attacks and the war that followed in Gaza, Cusack remained one of Hollywood's most vocal critics of Israel's military campaign. He joined hundreds of artists in signing the Artists for Ceasefire letter, urging then-President Joe Biden to push for an immediate ceasefire. He also continued arguing online that Israel's actions in Gaza amounted to genocide, while frequently clashing with pro-Israel social media users. His comments continued to generate controversy. In 2024, the advocacy group Stop Anti-Semitism nominated him for its Anti-Semite of the Year list, a move Cusack dismissed as absurd and based on false accusations. Then, in July 2025, he briefly shared a meme on Blue Sky linking former U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to Jeffrey Epstein. The post drew immediate accusations of anti-Semitism, prompting Cusack to remove it less than 2 hours after publishing it. What kind of background did controversial Cusack have? Does it suggest any explanation for his controversial nature? Let's dig into the details of Cusack's early life. The making of John Cusack. John Cusack's story began on June 28, 1966, in Evanston, Illinois, a quiet suburb just outside the busy city of Chicago. From the very beginning, he grew up in a home where creativity, learning, and strong personal values were part of everyday life. Raised in an Irish Catholic family, Cusack was surrounded by people who believed in expressing themselves, standing up for their beliefs, and never being afraid to challenge the world around them. His father, Richard "Dick" Cusack, was a man of many talents. He worked as an actor, writer, producer, and documentary filmmaker, filling the family home with stories, ideas, and artistic inspiration. His mother, Nancy Cusack, brought a different but equally powerful influence. A former mathematics teacher and passionate political activist, she encouraged thoughtful discussion and independent thinking. Together, his parents created an environment where curiosity and creativity flourished. The Cusack family itself was extraordinary. Acting seemed almost like a family tradition. John's older sisters, Anne and Joan Cusack, both went on to enjoy successful acting careers, while his brother Bill and sister Susie also became involved in the entertainment world. Growing up among siblings who shared the same artistic passion meant John was constantly surrounded by imagination, performances, and conversations about film, theater, and storytelling. It was the kind of household where pursuing creative dreams felt completely natural. Although John was born in Illinois, his family's roots stretched beyond the Midwest. His parents had previously lived in New York before settling in Illinois, bringing with them a broad outlook on life. The family also maintained close ties with well-known peace activist Philip Berrigan, exposing the young Cusack to conversations about social justice, politics, and standing up for one's convictions from an early age. Cusack attended Evanston Township High School, graduating in 1984. It was there that he met fellow aspiring actor Jeremy Piven, a friendship that would later continue in Hollywood. Even as a teenager, it was becoming clear that acting was more than just a hobby. It was his calling. After high school, Cusack enrolled at New York University, hoping to continue his education while pursuing his ambitions. But the classroom could not contain the drive he felt inside. After only 1 year, he made the bold decision to leave college behind. Looking back, he famously joked that he had too much fire in his belly and not enough smarts in his brain. Whether spoken with humor or honesty, the remark reflected a young man eager to stop waiting and start chasing the career he believed he was meant to have. What is known about Cusack's personal life? Could this explain his controversial nature? Let's take a look at John Cusack's private life and the remarkable family behind his career. John Cusack, beyond the spotlight. For more than 4 decades, John Cusack has been one of Hollywood's most recognizable actors, yet he has managed to keep much of his private life hidden from public view. While millions know him through his unforgettable performances on screen, far fewer know the personal story behind the man himself. According to various reports, the strong family values and creative upbringing that shaped his childhood have played just as important a role in his life as his successful acting career. John was born and raised in Evanston, Illinois, in a family where creativity was part of everyday life. His parents encouraged their children to think independently explore the arts, and express themselves freely. Their home was filled with imagination, intellectual discussion, and artistic inspiration, creating the perfect environment for young talents to grow. That nurturing atmosphere would eventually produce one of Hollywood's most respected acting families. Among his siblings, Joan Cusack became a major star in her own right, earning 2 Academy Award nominations for her memorable roles in Working Girl and In and Out. Over the years, John and Joan became one of the film industry's most beloved brother and sister duos. Their natural chemistry appeared in several popular films, including Say Anything, High Fidelity, Grosse Point Blank, and War, Inc., delighting audiences whenever they shared the screen. The family's creative success did not stop there. John's siblings Ann Cusack, Bill Cusack, and Susie Cusack also built careers across acting, theater, writing, and production. Instead of competing against one another, the Cusack siblings often supported and worked alongside each other, reflecting the strong family bond that had been built long before Hollywood came calling. Even as his fame grew, John remained determined to protect his personal life. Unlike many celebrities who regularly make headlines for their relationships, he has consistently chosen privacy over publicity. He has never married and has no children, rarely discussing his romantic life in interviews. Friends and colleagues have often described him as thoughtful, reserved, and deeply committed to keeping his private world separate from his public career. The Cusack family's story is one of talent, loyalty, and quiet determination. Their shared passion for the arts, combined with a strong sense of independence, helped shape John into the actor audiences admire today. While Hollywood often rewards fame and constant attention, John Cusack has followed a different path, proving that lasting success does not require living every moment in the spotlight. So, what do you think about John Cusack's disappearance from Hollywood? Do you really think his controversial nature was really responsible? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.